Hey guys, tonight we're going to step into a practice so simple you might laugh at first. But if you try it, it just might shift the entire rhythm of your day. Imagine this. Every morning, before the noise of emails, traffic, and coffee spills over, you whisper just 5 short lines to yourself. 5 lines, spoken softly, that can steady your heart, clear your mind, and carry you through whatever comes next. Without them, well, you'd probably stumble out the door like a zombie chasing after your own missing car keys. You wouldn't survive long. So, before we get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And here's something I'd love. Comment below. Tell me where you're watching from and what time it is for you right now. It's always a joy to know we're breathing together across so many different corners of the world. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. Line 1. I am grateful for this new day. When the sun first peeks through the blinds and paints the room with its soft light, you're handed something extraordinary. A brand new day. It may look ordinary, but it isn't. It's a gift. And the first line of this morning practice is simple, yet powerful. I am grateful for this new day. Gratitude, in the Buddhist tradition, is more than just a polite thank you. It's not about forcing yourself to smile when things feel rough. It's about noticing the sheer miracle of being alive right now. Think about it. Millions of tiny details lined up perfectly for you to wake up today. Your lungs filled with air, your heart kept its beat through the night, and here you are, listening to these words. That's no small thing. As you say this line, try pausing after each word. Let it echo. I am grateful for this new day. Feel how the phrase lands in your chest. Let your breath carry the weight of it. Gratitude has this quiet magic. It softens the mind, shifts your attention away from what's missing, and tunes you into what's already here. Imagine holding a warm cup of coffee between your palms. Before you even taste it, you notice the steam, the smell, the way the heat seeps into your fingers. That small act of noticing, that's gratitude in motion. When you start the day with gratitude, the rest of the day feels less like a battle to win and more like a journey to walk. This affirmation also rewires your inner dialogue. Instead of waking up and thinking, "Ugh, another stressful day," you plant a seed that says, "Today is a gift." Over time, that seed grows into a garden of resilience. Gratitude won't erase your problems, but it makes you bigger than them. Here's a way to deepen it. After speaking this line, picture one thing you're thankful for. It could be as small as the comfort of your pillow or as big as the fact that you're healthy enough to start fresh. The visualization ties the words to your heart, so they're not just sounds, they're experiences. And I'd love to hear from you. In the comments, share one thing you're grateful for this morning. It could be silly, serious, or somewhere in between. Your words might inspire someone else scrolling through at 2 a.m., searching for a little hope. Gratitude opens the door, but once you've stepped through, you'll notice something else waiting on the other side. Change. Because even as we celebrate this new day, life is already moving, shifting, and transforming. That leads us to the second line. Line 2. I embrace impermanence. The second line of this practice feels simple on the surface, but when you let it sink in, it reshapes how you see everything. I embrace impermanence. Those 3 words carry the entire truth of existence. In Buddhism, impermanence is not just an idea. It's the pulse of reality itself. Everything changes. Every sunrise becomes midday. Every laugh fades into silence. Every breath you take dissolves into the next. Most of the time, we resist this. We cling. We want good moments to last forever and painful ones to disappear instantly. Yet the harder we cling, the more life feels like sand slipping through our fingers. When you speak the words, "I embrace impermanence," you're choosing a different path. You're deciding to loosen your grip and flow with life instead of fighting against it. Think about a river. The water never holds still. It keeps moving, reshaping the banks, carrying leaves, stones, and stories downstream. Life is exactly like that river. If you stand rigid against the current, you get pulled under. But if you float, if you move with it, you find a strange kind of freedom. Impermanence becomes less scary and more like a gentle reminder. Nothing stays. And that's what makes it precious. Try this when you say the line. Picture a leaf drifting from a tree, swirling softly until it lands on the ground. That leaf doesn't resist the air. It lets itself fall, graceful and light. Let that image remind you of how you might move through your own changes. And here's the quiet secret of impermanence. It's what makes joy possible. Imagine if every song you loved played on an endless loop. At first, you'd smile, maybe even dance. But after a while, it would drive you mad. The beauty of music is that it begins, it rises, it fades, and it ends. Each note is precious because it won't repeat in exactly the same way again. The same is true for this very moment. You will never have it again. Embracing impermanence also dissolves fear. Many of the things we worry about, loss, failure, endings, are simply expressions of change. By making peace with change, we make peace with life itself. You begin to see that endings are just beginnings in disguise. That heartbreak opens a space for healing, that the closing of one door clears the way for another. If you've ever sat with an old photo album, you know the ache of impermanence. Faces look younger, haircuts look funnier. People you love may no longer be around. And yet, in that ache, there's a sweetness too. You realize the fleeting nature of it all is what gives it value. Those moments mattered because they passed. When you recite this line, let yourself feel that ache and sweetness together. It doesn't have to be heavy. It can be as simple as noticing the coffee steam curling upward, knowing it will vanish in seconds, and smiling because you were there to see it. And let me invite you into a little reflection. What's one change in your life that felt painful at first, but ended up teaching you something important? Share it in the comments if you feel like it. Your story might be the reminder someone else needs tonight. When you practice embracing impermanence daily, something shifts inside you. Anxiety eases. The urge to control everything softens. You learn to live in the present because you know it won't last. And that makes it shine brighter. So, as you whisper this line tomorrow morning, let it be both a surrender and a celebration. You don't have to hold on so tightly. You can let life move through you like wind through an open window. And once you've felt that release, once you've opened your hands to the truth of change, the heart naturally turns towards something deeper. Because after impermanence, the next line calls you to meet the world not with fear, but with love. That's where compassion enters the practice, and it changes everything. Line 3. I cultivate compassion for myself and others. The third line of this practice softens the sharp edges of the world. I cultivate compassion for myself and others. It sounds gentle, almost simple, but when you let it bloom inside you, it becomes one of the most powerful forces in your life. Compassion, in the Buddhist sense, is not just feeling sorry for someone. It's an active, living intention to meet both yourself and others with kindness, patience, and understanding. Start with yourself. This is where many people stumble. We're quick to criticize, quick to judge, quick to replay mistakes in our heads like a bad song stuck on repeat. But imagine if you spoke to yourself the way you'd speak to a dear friend. Imagine catching your own self-doubt and answering it with kindness. When you say, I cultivate compassion for myself, you're giving yourself permission to be human, to be imperfect, to rest without guilt. Now extend that outward. Compassion for others doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior or ignoring your own needs. It means recognizing the shared humanity in everyone you meet. The driver who cuts you off in traffic might be rushing to see a sick relative. The co-worker who snaps at you might be carrying invisible stress. You don't have to condone their actions, but you can choose to respond without fueling the fire. That choice is compassion. When you speak this line, let it flow through your breath. On the inhale, imagine drawing kindness into yourself. On the exhale, imagine sending that kindness out into the world. It doesn't matter how far it reaches, the intention itself changes the air around you. There's a story from Zen tradition where a monk asked his teacher, "What is the heart of this practice?" The teacher simply said, "An open hand." That's compassion, meeting the world not with a clenched fist, but with an open palm. And here's something to try tomorrow morning. After reciting this line, bring to mind one person you find difficult. It could be someone from work, a family member, even a stranger. Imagine them clearly, then silently wish for them the same peace you wish for yourself. You don't have to like them. You don't have to agree with them, but when you extend that wish, you loosen the knot of resentment in your own chest. That's the hidden gift of compassion. It heals you while it touches others. Compassion is also contagious. When you live with a gentle heart, people feel it. They may not even realize why they feel calmer or safer around you, but your kindness ripples outward. A kind word to the barista, a patient pause with your child, a smile offered instead of silence. These small acts stack up. They change the tone of your day, and they can shift the tone of someone else's life. And I'd love to know, what's one small act of compassion you gave or received recently that stayed with you? Share it in the comments. Your story might encourage someone else to practice compassion in their own corner of the world. Compassion doesn't mean you'll never feel anger or frustration again. Those emotions are part of being alive. But with compassion, you respond differently. Instead of letting anger steer the car, compassion takes the wheel and drives you back toward balance. So tomorrow, as you whisper, "I cultivate compassion for myself and others," remember it's both a promise and a practice. Some days it will feel natural. Other days it will feel impossible. That's okay. The act of returning to it again and again is what strengthens it. And when compassion settles into your life like a steady rhythm, it clears the path for something even brighter. Because after you soften your heart, the next line invites you to sharpen your mind. That's when wisdom steps in to guide the way. Line 4. I walk the path of wisdom. The fourth line brings us into a new dimension of this practice. I walk the path of wisdom. Wisdom in Buddhism is not about piling up facts or memorizing quotes. It's not about sounding clever at dinner parties. True wisdom is seeing reality clearly, without the fog of illusions. It is recognizing cause and effect, understanding suffering and its roots, and making choices that lead to freedom rather than entanglement. When you say this line, you are making a quiet but powerful commitment. You are declaring that you won't just drift through life on autopilot. You will walk step by step on a path guided by awareness and discernment. Walking the path means being willing to ask questions. Why do I react this way? What truly matters here? Is my choice feeding peace or feeding chaos? Each question pulls back the veil a little more, and clarity grows. Wisdom begins with mindfulness. When you sit with your breath, when you notice thoughts without clinging, you are training the mind to see more clearly. And from clarity, wisdom arises naturally. Think of it like cleaning a dusty window. The sunlight was always there. You just needed to wipe away what was blocking it. But wisdom is not only inward. It shows up in your actions. Maybe it means pausing before sending that angry email, or choosing patience instead of sarcasm, or recognizing that chasing one more purchase won't solve the ache inside. Wisdom whispers, "This isn't the way." And when you listen, you find freedom. When you repeat this line in the morning, Try to visualize yourself walking on a path. See the ground beneath your feet. Feel the weight of each step. This is not a sprint. It's a steady walk. Every choice is a step, and each step can be guided by wisdom. That image alone can bring a sense of calm direction into your day. Wisdom also requires humility. It's knowing that you don't know everything. The wisest people are not the loudest. They are often the ones listening closely. Imagine sitting with someone who doesn't rush to fill the silence. Their quiet presence makes you feel safe. That is wisdom at work, patience, depth, stillness. And I'd love for you to reflect, what is one lesson life has taught you the hard way? A piece of wisdom that keeps guiding you. Share it in the comments. Someone else may need to hear exactly what you've learned. This path is not without its challenges. Sometimes wisdom means letting go of something you wanted. Sometimes it means facing truths you'd rather avoid. But with each step, even the hard ones, your life aligns more closely with your authentic self. Over time, wisdom is no longer something you chase. It becomes the way you move, the way you breathe. So when you whisper, "I walk the path of wisdom," let it ground you. Let it remind you that every choice matters, no matter how small. A kind word instead of silence, a pause instead of a snap, a question instead of a judgment. Each of these is wisdom unfolding in daily life. And when wisdom steadies your steps, it naturally guides you toward the deepest destination of this practice. Because after wisdom comes the heart's final resting place, the peace of being at home within yourself. That is the promise of the fifth line, and it is where our journey is leading next. Line 5. I am at peace with myself. The final line of this morning practice feels like the destination, though in truth, it's also the beginning. I am at peace with myself. These words are like a deep exhale, a release of the weight you've been carrying. Inner peace is not about escaping the world or pretending that problems don't exist. It is about standing in the middle of all the noise and still finding a quiet center that cannot be shaken. When you say this line, pause after each word. Let it ripple through you. I am at peace with myself. Notice how your body reacts. Shoulders might drop, breath might deepen. The very sound of the words becomes an anchor, pulling you back to stillness. Peace does not mean you never feel anger, sadness, or fear again. It means those emotions pass through without defining you. Think of a mountain. Storms roll across it, clouds gather, winds howl. Yet the mountain remains. Your inner peace is that mountain. Life can be messy, but you are rooted. Many people search for peace in external things, the perfect job, the perfect partner, the perfect house. But as Buddhism reminds us, peace is never delivered from the outside. Even the best circumstances can't protect you from the mind's restlessness. True peace comes only from within, from letting go of grasping, from releasing the endless cycle of not enough. Here's a practice to deepen this line. When you recite it tomorrow, place a hand gently over your heart. Feel the warmth of your own body. As you speak the words, let that warmth remind you that you are already whole. You don't have to earn peace. You don't have to deserve it. You simply have to remember it is already there. Peace with yourself also means acceptance. The mistakes, the regrets, the scars, they are part of your story, but they are not your prison. You can look at them with compassion and say, yes, this too is me. And in that acceptance, the sharp edges begin to soften. And I want to hear from you. In the comments, share what inner peace feels like for you. Is it a memory, a place, a moment in your day? Your reflection might be the spark that helps someone else recognize their own peace. Living with this affirmation day after day reshapes the way you move through the world. Challenges still come, but you meet them with balance. Criticism still stings, but it no longer destroys you. You begin to radiate calm, and people notice. Your peace becomes their peace, spreading outward in ways you may never fully see. Imagine walking into a room with that quiet confidence, not the loud kind that demands attention, but the still kind that makes people breathe easier just because you're there. That's the gift of inner peace. It's not flashy, it's steady, like a candle that keeps burning no matter how dark the night becomes. So tomorrow, when you whisper, "I am at peace with myself," let it be a reminder and a promise. A reminder that peace is always possible, and a promise that you will return to it again and again. And now that we've walked through all the 5 lines together, gratitude, impermanence, compassion, wisdom, and peace, the question becomes, how do you bring these affirmations into the rhythm of your mornings so they don't just fade away? That is where the practice deepens and where our journey continues next. Deepening the practice. Creating a sacred space. Now that you've spoken all 5 lines, the practice can grow even deeper when you create the right environment to hold it. Think of it like planting seeds. Even the strongest seeds need good soil, sunlight, and water. Your affirmations are those seeds. The space you create in the morning becomes the soil in which they grow. A sacred space doesn't need to look like a temple. It doesn't require golden statues or incense swirling through the air, unless that resonates with you. It can be the quiet corner of your bedroom, a chair near the window where the morning light falls, or even the driver's seat of your car before you turn on the ignition. What matters is that you choose it and you honor it. When you step into that space, you're signaling to your mind, this is the moment for presence. The world can wait. Phones can wait. The to-do list can wait. For now, it's just you, your breath, and these 5 lines. Try adding simple touches that ground you, a candle, a plant, a photo that makes your heart warm. If you like scent, a stick of incense or a few drops of essential oil can help anchor your senses. If you prefer silence, let the stillness be your companion. And here's something practical. When you set up your space, keep it uncluttered. Clutter in your environment often creates clutter in the mind. A small, clear space invites a clear inner state. Think of it as building a little island of calm in the middle of a restless ocean. When you arrive at this spot each morning, take a slow breath before speaking the affirmations. Feel the ground beneath you. Notice the air around you. Let your body know you are safe here. This is your refuge. And I'd love to know, if you were to choose one place right now to call your sacred space, where would it be? Share it in the comments. Your choice might inspire someone else who's still searching for theirs. Once you've created this environment, the 5 lines don't just become words. They take root. They begin to shape the way you carry yourself through the day. Over time, returning to the same space builds a rhythm. The body remembers. The mind settles more quickly. Even before you speak the first line, peace begins to arrive. Some people worry that they don't have enough time in the morning. But remember, sacred space isn't measured in minutes or hours. It's measured in intention. Even 2 minutes in a space you've chosen can change the whole tone of your day. So tomorrow, when you wake, don't just stumble into your day. Step into your space, however simple it may be, and let it hold you. Whisper your lines there and notice how they feel different when spoken in a place you've claimed as your own. And once your space is ready, there's another step to deepen the practice even further, because after the environment is set, the next task is to center yourself, to bring your attention fully into the present before the words leave your lips. That is where mindful awareness begins, and it will be our next step together. And so we arrive gently at the close of our journey together. You've walked with me through gratitude, impermanence, compassion, wisdom, and peace. You've seen how these 5 lines, repeated with sincerity each morning, can become more than words. They become companions. They become steady markers along the path of your day, guiding you when things feel heavy, reminding you when things feel light. As you lie here now, listening with soft eyes or maybe already drifting towards sleep, remember that the point of this practice is not perfection. It's presence. Every time you speak the words, you are choosing to begin again. Every sunrise is a chance to reset, to meet the world with openness, and to come home to yourself. You don't need to force anything. You don't need to chase transformation. The beauty of this practice is that it works quietly, like water shaping stone, like a candle spreading light without effort. Over time, you will notice the subtle shifts. More patience in traffic, more kindness toward yourself, more calm when life grows loud. That is the ripple effect of mindfulness. So, if you found this journey meaningful, take a moment to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. That way, you'll know when our next story is ready and we can keep walking together. And in the comments, let me know which part of this practice touched you most or which line you plan to carry with you tomorrow. Your reflections not only inspire me, but they may spark hope in someone else who finds their way here. Now let the words settle. Imagine the 5 lines like stars above you, quiet and steady, each one lighting the night in its own way. You don't have to hold them all at once. Just let their glow surround you, soft and safe. Breathe in slowly, breathe out gently, let your body sink into rest. You are safe, you are whole, you are at peace. And as this story fades into silence, know that the journey does not end here. In our next video, we will continue exploring the art of mindfulness and how to weave it into the small, ordinary moments of daily life, moments that are not so ordinary when you really notice them. For now, may your night be calm, may your dreams be gentle, and may you wake with the sunrise carrying gratitude, wisdom, and peace. End of script. Sweet dreams.